What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh, fan of showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com. And I wanted to make a video today talking about the officiating from the Kansas City Chiefs versus Cincinnati Bengals AFC Championship game. So, we're a couple days out from the game at this point, and maybe I shouldn't even be making a video on this. Maybe I should be ignoring all the people crying about the refs, because no matter what happens, the team that loses is going to cry about the refs. It's just what happens, especially in a game as big as the AFC Championship game. But when you have a lot of people, not just Bengals fans, that are complaining about the officiating for the game and complaining about how the officiating was favored towards the Chiefs, it does get a little bit annoying, and I felt the need to make a little bit of a rant type of video to explain how the officiating really did not affect the Bengals as badly as everyone on Twitter is saying it did. And I would have loved to have gathered these plays or the clips of them and put them into a video and walk through them with you guys and show you why or why not they were a penalty, or how it wasn't really that big of an effect on the game. But unfortunately, that would be a copyright for me because I don't own the footage from the NFL and all that stuff, and I didn't want to do that. But I will link each clip in the description for those of you watching, so you can go and look at these plays as I'm talking about them, and if you really want to see them again, and then come back and see what I have to say. So there's several major plays in this game that we're going to look at in which the Bengals had a penalty, the big ones that everyone is talking about. So let's go through those. First, you have the play where the Chiefs were basically rewarded a redo on third down. Okay, that's a big one that everybody's talking about. Then we have the holding call on Eli Apple. That same drive, he held Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and the Chiefs were given a first down. Then there was the Joe Burrow intentional grounding. We're going to talk about that one as well. That one was late in the fourth quarter after the Bengals had gotten the ball back with 2 minutes left. And then Joseph Ossai's unnecessary roughness on Patrick Mahomes. Those are all the big ones that went against the Bengals. So let's start with the Chiefs basically getting a free down. So Ron Torbert, the referee, came running onto the field, but nobody could hear or see him before the play happened. And the players, most of them, continued to play as if nothing had happened. And then after Ron Torbert said, hey, we're going to redo that down, I had to stop the play. And Bengals fans were irate, and Zach Taylor was furious. And look, I don't blame the Bengals for being mad there, because that is something I've never even seen before. And yeah, it kind of sucks because the play had happened and everyone was kind of cool with it and they went with the play like it had happened. But technically, Ron Torbert did run onto the field and was trying to stop the play before it happened. And additionally, the Chiefs punted that ball on that drive anyway. It did not benefit the Chiefs at all. They got a first down after the Eli Apple holding, but Mahomes ended up being sacked anyway, and the Chiefs hardly even gained a yard. So that entire drive really did not matter. It took a little bit of time off the clock, but with Mahomes being sacked, it almost pretty much guaranteed the Bengals would be getting a better field position. Let's talk about the Joe Burrow intentional grounding, okay? Joe Burrow threw the ball into the ground as the Chiefs pass rush was closing in. He was called for intentional grounding. Some people argue it wasn't intentional grounding. You can make an argument that it wasn't intentional grounding, but again, the Bengals ended up converting on 3rd and 16, so that play didn't matter. I don't know what we're complaining about there. And then finally, the Joseph Ossai play that basically ended the game. That was an unnecessary roughness. I'm sorry, that is getting called 10 times out of 10. You can look at the picture of Patrick Mahomes. Both of his feet are out of bounds, and Ossai is about ready to push him. Mahomes went flying into the bench along with Ossai, and it gave the Chiefs an extra 15 yards, and the game was over. And it sucks. I've said this. It sucks that the game is basically decided off a flag, but it was the right call. I'm sorry. If you're complaining about the right call, well, then guess what? You lost. And Joseph Ossai, I don't think he needs to be so hard on himself. I know he was really emotional after that game. But you know what, Joseph Osai? It's fine because I think the Chiefs were going to win either way. Because even if that had not happened, the Chiefs still had 8 seconds to run a play. And had they even just gotten a singular yard on the next play, I do believe that the Chiefs were still going to try a field goal with Harrison Butker. And I believe he would have made it from 60. We know Harrison Butker has that leg power. He's hit it from 60 before. And I think the game would have been over no matter what. I think the Chiefs would have won. There were also a couple missed calls that Bengals fans are complaining about. One of them being a sort of late hit on Joe Burrow by Frank Clark. And a lot of Bengals fans are complaining that that should have been roughing the passer. Now, if you actually watch the play in real time, not the slow motion, it doesn't look nearly as late. And if you pay really close attention, Joe Burrow sold it a little bit, and Frank Clark actually got pushed in the back by the Bengals offensive lineman, which kind of launched him into Joe Burrow a little bit. It wasn't roughing the passer. There may be a few rare occasions where that does get called for roughing the passer, but it shouldn't have been called in that scenario. And now, people are saying the officiating was slanted for the Chiefs, okay? And this is just ridiculous because the Chiefs had a lot of calls that did not go their way. First of all, they had an entire touchdown wiped off the board by a very ticky-tack holding call on right tackle Andrew Wiley. The Chiefs ended up having to settle for 3 in the red zone on that drive. Getting that touchdown called back was a huge deal, and I don't really know if it was holding on Andrew Wiley. And Bengals fans are also complaining that there was uncalled holding on the Chiefs when they were on offense. And I'm just going to say this. You could basically call holding on every single play, especially for the Bengals. The Bengals offensive line was holding damn near every play because it was the only way that they could block Chris Jones and the Chiefs defensive line. It just only got called a few times. But, I mean, they were holding him. There was a play where the offensive lineman was bear hugging Frank Clark and it didn't get called. And that was ridiculous. So you could call it holding on every single play. If we're just going to, look for all these situations in the game where the Chiefs were maybe getting away with a little holding, and we're going to be like, oh my God, look at the Chiefs getting away with holding right here, especially on the same play where Joseph Osai committed unnecessary roughness. People are saying that the Chiefs were holding, and I mean, not really. Even former Hall of Fame offensive lineman Joe Thomas came out and said, yeah, this is not holding on that play where Patrick Mahomes got the unnecessary roughness call. Guys, if we're going to sit here and pick out every single play where there was holding, I mean, it's just a waste of time. The Chiefs also got a 15-yard penalty that brought back a huge catch by MVS because Andrew Wiley got a taunting call. It was either Sam Hubbard or Trey Hendrickson. He kind of said something to him and did a motion with his arms. And yeah, Andrew Wiley probably shouldn't have been doing that, but it got called. It got called, and it took away a huge play from the Chiefs, and I believe that was also the same drive in which Patrick Mahomes fumbled. So the Bengals got really good field position, too, because of that unsportsmanlike conduct call, because it brought the Chiefs back. And the Bengals were able to tie up the game after that. All this talk about the officiating and how the Chiefs only won because of the refs is extremely exhausting. No, the Chiefs didn't win because of the refs. The Chiefs won because they had the better game in almost every statistical category. They won the turnover battle. Patrick Mahomes outplayed Joe Burrow on one ankle. The Bengals got the ball with 2 minutes left and had to punt back to the Chiefs. That's why the Chiefs won this game. The Chiefs had the better offense. The Chiefs had the better defense. The Chiefs protected their quarterback better. The Chiefs won the game, and the Bengals lost. Okay? It wasn't because of the officiating. Was the officiating great? No, and you don't really like to see that many flags because it messes up the flow of the game, and nobody wants to see a bunch of flags. But that's not why the Bengals lost. The Bengals lost because the Chiefs were the better team last night. Okay? The end. That's all I got for this one, guys. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this, and make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com, and I will see you all in the next one. Go Chiefs!